Right, let's see how many people find the live. Hello, I see there are 4 people, 6 people. People have found us, that's good. 9 people, hello, hi, welcome. 14 already, 16 already. Numbers are jumping, 23. Hello everybody, good evening. Give us a wave, say hello. Make yourself known in the chat, please. I can see people are there, but I can't see any comments. Somebody say hi. Well, there are 40 of you already, but I can't see anybody saying anything. Am I like not looking at the comments? Or... Nope. This is weird. Oh, Liz, you're the first. Hi, Liz. Let's wait. Excuse me, I was waiting for somebody to say hi. I was just standing here all on my lonesome, thinking that none of you could hear or see me. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Rose Box Live Reveal. We've got 8 fragrances to get through today, which is quite exciting. Everybody's saying hi now. Hi, Gavin. Hi, Kerry. Hi, Hester. Hi, everybody. Feels like a long time since we last saw each other. Right, you need your boxes and you need your tester strips and any notes that you've made. And that's it, and a drink maybe. Okie dokie. Who is excited for the rose reveal? I know I am. Hi Laura. Hi Christabel. I think we have Kiwi, the wonderful Kiwi from Escentual this evening, I think. Manning the chat. Gemma's very excited. That's good. Kirsten's here. Hi Kirsten. I see Maria's here. Hi Sean. I've missed you guys too. It feels like a very long time. Very long time. We've got a lot to get through though. I think the comments are slightly delayed. Lisa, I think you might be right. Which I'll just bear in mind that I might ask you guys a question and I'll have to do some rambling whilst I wait for the answers. Okay, we're going to get to 5 past and then I'm going to get going. I'll just do a little bit of a, give a chance for everybody to get on. Oh, Carol really likes F. A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay, yeah, I like F. I have to keep reminding myself which one to switch in this box. It has been a long time. Too long. Right, we're going to wait 2 more minutes and then we're just going to dive right into it, I think. That's the plan. That's my plan. I'm just making the plan and hoping you guys are ready to come along with me. Okay, Manuela likes B and G. Interesting. Very different, those two, actually. Lisa liked them all. Of course. I think I like them all in this box. I like rose fragrances though, so I feel like this is a very me box. I mean, I would wear and enjoy all of these. Carol says it makes you look forward longer than having it earlier in the month. That's good. I think it's good to get it all out of the way in one go though as well. So I've made not too many format changes really for tonight because I wanted to keep it the way that we normally do it. But I think we'll just go at a little bit of a quicker pace. So my aim is that we will do this in under an hour, just under, because I know you guys like to clock off for The Apprentice at 9 PM. So we're not going to keep you any longer. I think what we'll do is we'll just go a little bit quicker, which I think is fine. Not too much has changed. I've also added a few little extra bits in, like different kind of approaches to things that I'm hoping might be good. So just let me know how you feel about those. I know you guys aren't backwards and coming forwards with how you feel about stuff, so which is a good thing. I keep forgetting my favourites. I have to make a note. That's you do that, Wendy. Wasn't expecting to enjoy the Rose box as much as I did, says Hayley. Now, the problem that I've noticed is the white of the comments against the stripy t-shirt is going to be difficult for me to see. Should have thought about that. How's Pugsley? Pugsley's good. He is downstairs having a nap. I thought I'd make the most of the perfume backdrop this evening. Okay, should we get going? It's 5 past. I said at 5 past we would get going. So, welcome to the Rose Live Reveal. Tonight we will talk about rose fragrances and what makes them smell the way they do. We'll even talk a bit about the history and kind of olfactory context of the theme. And then we're going to discuss each of the 8 fragrances from A to H, capturing your views on them, talking about how they showcase the theme in their own special way. And then we will reveal what they are. We will also reveal kind of a little bit, what I've tried to add in here as well, is a little bit of what I'm calling further sniffing. So almost like before when when you were studying back in the day and you would do like further reading on a subject, I want to give you further sniffing. So I might recommend some fragrances that if you like a particular one in this box that might be worth for you to smell for a particular reason. It might not be that it's because it smells the same, it might be because it's by the same perfumer or the same brand or does a similar type of thing. But I thought that might be just an exciting way to kind of expand you past this box. So make sure you've got your drink, your essential scents box and some tester strips ready because we're going to jump right in. What I will say is Kiwi's asked me to announce at the beginning of the live, thank you for reminding me, Kiwi, earlier today, that the way the boxes are going to be coming to you now is slightly different. So if you remember before, what you used to do is you used to pre-order the box and then it would just come on the same day for everybody roughly. We'd be dispatched at the same time. It's different now. What will happen is when you order a box, once it's live and ready to go, like the Iris box is now, it will just come within a few days of you ordering it. So you can have it as soon as possible, really, which is quite exciting. So just bear that in mind. Kiwi, if I've missed anything, let me know. Okay. It would be interesting to find out if C, because I hated it. Fair enough. Well, it's terrible as I thought, except C, of course. A lot of excited to find about G. Okay, so G seems to be the popular one. Okay, yeah. That tracks. That tracks for me. Michelle loves the further sniffing idea. Okay, cool. Let's see. Let's go. I'm just going to go straight into it. So let's talk about the theme first of all. I think rose perfumes have a bit of a bad reputation. And I personally think that is unfair. I cannot tell you how many times I have spoken to somebody about perfume and they boldly declared to me that they do not like roses in their fragrance. That's it. They're a big no on the roses. And then I kind of delve a little bit deeper and try and find out what some of their favourite scents are. And they then list a number of fragrances with rose in, or just fragrances that are straight up rose fragrances. I had this with my sister recently because we went to, as you may know, some of you have been following, before her wedding we went perfume shopping and she said, I'll buy, I'm kind of into anything but I don't want a rose fragrance. Her favourite fragrance of all time is Stella by Stella McCartney, which is a big rose fragrance. And the first fragrance that she sniffed, or the second fragrance that she sniffed, or one of the notable fragrances that she sniffed on that shopping trip was Rose Prick by Tom Ford. I was like, you like roses, you just don't know you like roses. So I think people kind of are a little bit afraid of the idea of roses, but actually quite like the smell. Not everybody though. So you see, I think what people think of roses is that they see it as they associate it with something a little bit outdated. A lot of people use the word like granny scent. I don't really like that term because I think it's a little bit ageist, if I'm being honest, but also I think a lot of the scents that our grands wear were super cool in their day. And actually, if your gran wears Shalimar, then she was a bit of a dark horse back in the day. So I don't like to use that term. And I think people just think they're a little bit prim, a little bit outdated. But roses are really a key thread of the fabric of perfumery, and they're just simply everywhere. They're used so often as a supporting act, but also as kind of the main theme. So I'm here for roses in a big way. I'm just going to dive back into the comments for a second. Lots of discussion about C. I love how everybody... Mia doesn't get what's so awful about C. Justice for C. I agree, justice for C. I like C. I don't think I'd wear C personally, but I like C. Hester's a rose fan. Good. And I'm glad you're not ashamed. So there are predominantly two types of fragrance rose. So there are the Rose Centifolia and the Rose Damascena. They each have a distinct odour profile. So the Centifolia leans a little bit more citrus fresh, and the Damascena feels a little bit more fruity, jammy. And the great thing about and fascinating thing about roses is that actually when you extract an oil or an absolute from a rose, you get a massively complex compound filled with, you know, so many different chemical materials that contribute to the flower's odour. So there are so many different ones of these. You can have cis rose oxide, which is a really intense rosy odour, and then beta damascenone, which is jammy, rich and rosy. Then there's beta ionone, which is kind of the sweet earthy smell of violets. Nerol, which is kind of the hissy citrus aspect of rose. Farnesol, which has kind of like a white floral-esque smell. Linalool, which is a smell between lavender and bergamot. Then there's geraniol, which is kind of that menthol, minty freshness of geranium. Eugenol, which is that kind of clovey smell that you smell in carnations. And then citronellol, which is kind of the fresher, more floral and cleaner aspects of rose. So the thing about roses, they're just massively, massively complex. And what I find really, really fascinating is that when you get any of those oils from a rose, they smell rosy in different ways, but they don't smell like a rose on the bush. And I think that's quite fascinating. You can take kind of the essence of a rose and it doesn't really smell like a rose. So because roses are filled with all of those materials, those chemical compounds, they're wonderfully multifaceted flowers with a nuanced odour profile that can be pulled in many, many directions by kind of clever perfumers, which is why they're a perfumery staple. And all of this information, I realise there's a lot, and I've just written a load of names at you, and you don't need to know those names and things. The point is that it's just that they're very multifaceted. But we will be publishing an article that I've written about these fragrances and roses, which will have all of that information in it. So you can actually go away and read that a little bit later, which will be, so you get all of that. So that's there for you later on. So don't worry, you'll get access to that information a bit later. So, are you ready to jump in the box? I'm ready to jump right into the box. Should we start with A? I have my tester strip. Okay, so we're going to go right ahead and talk through each of the fragrances in the box. This is an interactive experience, so smell along with me and describe what you're experiencing in the chat. Don't forget to use things like colours, textures, emotions, people, places, things, and even emojis if you want to transport us away with your descriptions of your experiences. There is no right or wrong in perfume. If you smell it, it's there. So describe it the way that you see it. So let's go. We're going to do a fragrance A. Okay, so slight twist. Obviously in your boxes you have some questions about the fragrances, and I'm going to start with each of those questions. So if fragrance A was a celebrity, who would it be? So I'm spraying off camera. I decided to go for bottles over sample strips today. So let's hope we don't have a Dylan Turquoise situation where I reveal it by mistake. So, if fragrance A was a celebrity, who would it be? Pure and Simple Rose is Rachel. It smells like a rose on a bush, says Nikki. Straight up Valentine's Day, says Hayley. Esther Ransom. Fern Cotton. Okay, okay. Taylor Swift. Got it. Lily Collins. So all feminine in everyone's eyes, which I think is interesting. Okay, so why did we pick fragrance A? I think we picked fragrance A. Well, I know we picked fragrance A because I picked it. Because it smells exactly like a rose on the bush. And as lots of you saying, it smells like a rose on the bush. It's pure rose. Kylie at the age she is now, I like that. Dolly, definitely Dolly. Dolly can be any fragrance because she's so amazing. Smells exactly like a rose on the bush, which is actually quite a technical marvel. So if you remember what I just said 30 seconds ago, which is that the oils extracted from roses are multifaceted and complex, but they don't smell like roses. So to create a perfume that smells exactly like freshly cut pink roses covered in morning dew, as this fragrance is actually quite a technical marvel. It's a feat of perfumery. And that's what this fragrance does. They've pieced together, the perfumer has so cleverly pieced together the smell of a rose. It's like you're literally walking up to a fresh rosebud and sniffing it. It's absolutely beautiful. Kirsten gets some violet. Definitely get some violet in there. Kate Winslet. Carol's liking it now. Kate Rosebush. Love that, Ellie. Some very wholesome. Why can't I think of any wholesome people? I don't know. Wholesome's overrated. Kylie Minogue, Emily in Paris. Okay, got lots and lots of vibes on this one. Amy loves stripes. Here for the stripes. Lots of Kate Winslet. Okay, so this smells to me like blush pink roses, like rose petals, juicy and watery. It's got lots of hints of clean, of like very sparkling citrus. It's a little bit lemony. And rose naturally has a citrus facet, so I think it captures that beautifully. There's also a very subtle berry facet in there as well. And again, rose has a natural berry facet to it. And there's some leafy greenery in there. It's got sharpness to it. Some violet, as Kirsten said quite rightly. Something a little bit tea-like in there. It's very, on sort of the one hand, quite elegant, but also very, very casual and easy. I just think it's like a very lovely everyday fragrance. It perfectly represents a rose. Absolutely, Catherine, I agree. Okay, do you want to know what it is? The answer to that question is obviously going to be yes. Wholesome is overrated, I agree, Gavin. Very sweet powdery rose, but didn't last on my skin. Rose ice cream, my favourite kind of. I would just eat rose ice cream until I died. Very summer in the sunny garden. Yeah, I like it. Do you want to know what it is? Are you ready? I've got it in my hand. I'm ready for the reveal. Okay, told you it was going to be a bit quicker this time. Let's go straight into it. Are you ready? This fragrance A is Rose by Paul Smith. This came out in 2007. It's by the perfumer called Antoine Maisondieu. It is £30 for 100 ml eau de parfum. I believe it's eau de parfum. Yes, it is. Fragrance fact: this fragrance reportedly contains the Paul Smith variety of rose. That's right. Apparently, his wife bought him a variety of rose as a gift, and that's the version that they've used here. Now, I think instead of growing tons and tons of Paul Smith roses, they've used Headspace technology to analyze the scent of his rose. So Headspace technology is a method where they use inert gases to analyze the aromatic compounds around an object. So they put kind of a glass dome over it, and they analyze kind of the scent in the air, and then a perfumer will then use that data of what compounds are around that thing to recreate it using perfumery materials, which is insanely clever. So I think what they've tried to do here is they've used Headspace to understand the smell of the Paul Smith rose, and then they've kind of pieced it together. So yeah, £30 for this. Wonderful fragrance. I think, I'm going to just put it out there, this is the best photorealistic rose, and that's what I've called it. It's the photorealistic rose. It's like you've taken an olfactory snapshot of a rose, and it is the one that most smells like rose, and it comes in a really pretty, I've actually got the box for once, I've got something to hand, lovely gorgeous box. I think it's so beautiful, so wonderful. Light, yes, it doesn't last the longest, but I think it's great. Now, further sniffing, if you want to try another photorealistic rose, then I would recommend trying Une Rose by Edition de Parfum Frédéric Malle. That's a much darker and richer rose. So it doesn't smell a lot like this, but it tries to approach the idea of a photorealistic rose in a very different way. So you get the scent of a dark, velvety red rose in its totality, with its petals, its stems, its thorns, and its earth. So yeah, quite different, but again, another rose that smells so vividly rose. But this is a really great one to start with. Paul Smith's best fragrance, I will say. And I quite like a few of the Paul Smith fragrances, actually. So, very good price. So, at that price, it is one of those things that you can just, waft yourself in, go a bit over the top. Oh, Nikki says, my mum got 2 bottles for Christmas. One has my name on now. Excellent. Got it right. Well done, Jane. Bargain at £30 for a bottle, yeah. Crystal Like Space. Good. Brilliant. Feedback is excellent. Okay. That is fragrance A. So this is our photorealistic rose. A rose that smells like a rose on the bush. And that's quite a technical thing. A good starting point, Kirsten. I agree. And Angela, yes, I think you can just kind of douse yourself in it like a body mist. And that's a good thing. Brilliant. Let's go. Let's go to fragrance B. So, fragrance B. If fragrance B was a holiday destination, where would it be? Intrigued to find your answers on this one. I'm going to have a spritz. This is one that I'm calling the Jammy Rose. which I think might be my favourite kind of type of rose. Yes, Sharon, that was Paul Smith. That was Paul Smith rose. That was A. There you go. Gemma loved B. Larissa's looking forward to B. A rose in the bush is worth 2 in the hand. Yeah, depends whose bush, I guess, Gavin. Ibiza, Barbados. Oh, Crystal likes B. We've got 2 little very happy, loving emojis there. It is definitely sweeter, Suzanne, I agree. It says a landmark trust holiday cottage. That's so specific. Willy Wonka factory, Turkey. Very jammy, but also I think quite transparent in a way. It's not too heavy. Amy likes B. Ooh, pink sandy shores of the Bahamas. Santori. Okay, we've got some great things. So why did we pick this fragrance, the Jammy Rose? Well, it's because it showcases the jamminess of rose. I don't know about you, but I love rose as a flavouring. So give me a rose macaron or some rose ice cream and I'm happy. In fact, they've started selling these kind of rose and raspberry macaron ice creams in Waitrose, which are really, really dangerous for me. So I probably shouldn't go and buy those because they're like £6 for 2, but they're so good. Anyway, this fragrance amplifies the berry facets of rose, turning them into a delicious rose and berry compote. It's juicy, it's sweet, and it's sugary, but it's still more of a rose than a gourmand, I would say. I think. It's too sweet for some, that's fine. I think everyone has a different tolerance level for sweetness. Mine's very high, obviously. Sweetie Shop, sickly sweet, says Lisa, but in a good way. Devon for a jam and cottage cream scone treat. Amazing. Ooh, Turkish Delight. I will eat rose in anything. I had some rose gelato when I went camping with my my brother and my dad, which we do. It's like a yearly lads trip where we go. We'll bring Nigel and Pugsley as well. And they had a rose gelato there. Well, they called it Turkish Delight, but it was just rose. It was so good. That was down in Southwold. Masking that under the sweetness. Yes, yeah. Do you find any similarities with G? Yeah, I would say so. I would say I find some similarities with G there. So what does it smell like? To me, it smells like blackcurrant, lychee, and roses stirred together. And those are naturally kind of rosy things. You get a lychee facet and a blackcurrant facet. But it also has a soft, breezy feel, I think. I think that's where the muskiness comes in. It's jammy, jammy, jammy. There's a touch of apricot, I think, in there as well, thanks to a sweet osmanthus note. And osmanthus is a flower that has kind of this like fleshy, leathery feel to it, but also this apricot-y jam sort of compote vibe. It's got a lovely sort of fresh, watery quality to it as well. Because I find it quite, I suppose, lightweight for a very sweet fragrance. Crystal said less rose and more sweet greatness. Okay. Interesting. Okay, do you want to know what it is though? Do you? Do you? So I always ask that question and I know that the answer is always going to be the same because you do want to know, you will be here. Okay, so this fragrance is, I think this one will be a surprise because this was a surprise for me when I tried it. I wasn't expecting to love this fragrance. Okay, this fragrance is from Issey Miyake. It is L'Eau d'Issey Rose and Rose. It's an Eau de Parfum Intense by Issey Miyake. Came out in 2019 and you can get it for £28.60 for a 25ml Eau de Parfum or £71.40 up to £71.40 for a 90ml size. So yeah, this is Issey Miyake. Who would have thought? So fragrance fact, this is in fact a flanker to the original L'Eau d'Issey, but it shares nothing with the original at all. And I think it's really, really beautiful and it should have been its own fragrance. I don't think it needs to be a L'Eau d'Issey. I think it could just be a new Issey Miyake. So yeah, this is a really, really beautiful fragrance. And it's so lovely and jammy and it was a real surprise. In fact, another fun fragrance fact, when we were doing blind fragrance trials but not selling them, we did one, I can't remember the year, but we did one as kind of like a press piece where we sent it out to journalists and bloggers, and this was one of the fragrances in there. So it's actually a second go, not in the round of boxes people can buy, but we did include it in that original blind trial that we trialed. Further sniffing, if you want more jammy roses, then try Rose Jam from Lush. It does exactly what the name says for jammy roses. Yeah, completely different from the original, as Christabel says. Lots of surprises there, pleasantly so, that's good. Yeah, I think it's a really, really beautiful fragrance. And that's fragrance B. Right, shall we now do C? Are you ready for C? Crystal's already buying a bottle of that with her iris box. Well done. Let's do fragrance C. So fragrance C, I am declaring the Peachy Rose. My question to you though is, if fragrance C was a dessert, what dessert would it be? I'm glad you're enjoying the extra sniffing segments. I thought they'd be fun. It was quite a fun challenge actually for me to think of things as part of that. Right, I'm just spraying. This bottle is a little bit unwieldy. Okie dokie. So C, I obviously know that C is going to divide everybody. Not a fan of C, I love C. Those are the two comments I can see. I love C, not a fan of C. Immediately next to each other. That sums C up. Hayley says she wouldn't order this dessert no matter what it was. It couldn't be dessert as desserts are nice. Not all desserts are nice. A bit of marzipan, peach melba. There's just something special about this. Marie says something the cat has puked up. Is that a dessert? My cat doesn't puke up desserts. Bit baby powder. I get that. So why do we pick C? Well, we picked it because it's a classic rose, and I think it's nice to have a classic in the box. And it showcases some of the peachier facets of rose. And I think unlike A and B, C isn't really trying to smell like rose. This is a perfume based on rose, but it smells of so much more. And it's a big, opulent rose drenched in powder and a floral haze. It's a very full-bodied rose, I think. Bit fusty, says Christabel. Bakewell tart, says Dawn. Dirt smell, but in a good way. Earthy. Okay, yeah, I can totally get the earthy. Very special. A dessert that fell into an ashtray by accident. Sometimes it does happen. Okay, so this was the only scrubber for Gavin. Elnet hairspray. I so see that, Joe. So, what does it smell like? Well, it smells like rose petals. Less fresh, though, I think, when we've smelled the others. Of all the boxes, says Gavin. Interesting. It's only scrub out of all of the boxes. That's not a bad hit rate for us, Gavin, really, is it? So yes, rose petals, but you haven't got like the freshness of the rose petals as we've had in the other. It's a little bit more, I feel like, dried flowers. But then there's this like fuzzy haze of aldehydes, something quite soapy, a hint of peach skin, swathes of like silky sandalwood. It's kind of a little bit nutty, I find. There's like kind of a nuttiness in like almost verging on coconutty and musk. It smells like somewhere that used to allow smoking indoors. Well, I think this was probably a time when fragrances were competing with those smells, so it definitely has that boldness. Goes perfectly with a full skirted vintage 50s frock. I love how we all think differently about this one, says Sharon. I agree, it's amazing, isn't it, how one person can love a fragrance that someone else absolutely hates. That's just the kind of amazing thing about perfume, I guess. Jack says the least rose smell. Yeah, I think that's right, Jack. It's kind of more of a rose adorned with other stuff. It's like rose isn't the central theme here, I don't think. It's a lot more. Lots of people think they recognise it. Well, should I just tell you what it is? Will that help? Should I do that? I feel like I should. Should I just do that? Should I tell you what it is? Okay, fragrance C, are you ready? I'm going to take a dramatic sip of my Coke. Hair straightener burnt smell I didn't notice before. Interesting. That's such a specific smell, but I know exactly what you mean. There's definitely, Elnet Facet, definitely. Ooh, Lucy thinks her BFF wore it at school almost 30 years ago. Timeline checks out. Timeline checks out. Okay, are you ready? So this fragrance is Trésor by Lancôme. This came out in 1990. It is by perfumer Sophia Groisman. The prices range from £48.45 for a 30ml eau de parfum to £86.70 for a 100ml eau de parfum. Fragrance fact, this one took its name from a discontinued Lancôme fragrance actually that came from the 50s. It means treasure. And Sophia Groisman was massively prevalent in the 1980s and has created some of the world's most iconic fragrances. She's the perfumer behind Estee Lauder, beautiful YSL Ivresse, which is also known as Champagne before it was renamed. They called it Champagne, and then basically the Champagne lobby in France kicked off, so they renamed it to Eve Rose. She's very often worked with rose. A lot of her famous fragrances are roses, but she famously created something called the Groisman Accord, which was an accord made from Isoe Super, which is kind of a soft, woody smell. That is the smell of Molecule 01, if you know that fragrance. Hedione, which is a kind of a jasmine-like material. Galaxolide, which is a musk, and methyl ionone, which is kind of violety and powdery. And so those four things, Hedione, Isoe Super, Galaxolide, and methyl ionone, she put together in equal measure, so in equal parts. And she found when she mixed those in equal parts, it created something really, really special. And that became the backbone of many of her perfumes throughout the 80s and 90s, which is why there's a kind of similar theme. And even if you don't know this fragrance, it's kind of so recognizable because it has that Groisman Accord. So that's Trésor, and I think that's a really, really good example of a rose. So further sniffing on this one is YSL Paris, and why I say that is because it is a rose, and a rose from Sophia Groisman. And I think Paris is just so beautiful, and I wear Paris quite a lot, I'll be honest, because I just love it. It's overlapping rose with mimosa, which is kind of like pollen-y and a little bit almondy, with violet, and it's absolutely beautiful. So yeah, also you can go for Paris. This is Paris from YSL, which I just absolutely adore. I think if you found this one a little bit more challenging, I would think Paris is perhaps a little bit easier to get on with. We need presentation slides, so much info, can't absorb it all. Christabel, I will try and find out a way that we can share these notes with you without giving you my full notes. I'll have a chat with Escentual about how we can do it. So don't worry. Vintage Paris is great. So much of Paris is beautiful. I like the Eau de Toilette, the Parfum, and Parfum, blah, blah. I could talk about Paris for ages. So, okay. Paris is still available. Yep, you can still get Paris. I think you can get it in Eau de Parfum and Eau de Toilette. They still make it. It's still quite popular. Right, we're near the end of the first half, so let's go into Fragrance D. If Fragrance D is the fruity rose. If Fragrance D was a superhero, who would it be? Let me just spritz while you all think about that. Okay, I will think about Hayley. I'll think about how we do take home notes. I'll have a chat with Escentual and we'll have a think about it. I can certainly just give you my further sniffing advice and things like that. Ooh, Scarlet Witch. Love it, Hayley. Big fan of that. Am I ignoring your comments on purpose? No, I'm not ignoring your comments on purpose. There's lots of comments scrolling all at once, so I can't capture everything. Especially the further stiff notes would be great to have those. Yes, okay, fine. We'll talk. I think about a way how we can do it. Catwoman, very quiet superheroes, almost silent. It's a good idea for a superhero. Quiet man. I think my husband wishes I was Quiet Man every now and then. Black Widow. Kirsty loves D. I think she has it. Interesting. Oh no, Gemma, you smashed it. That was like me with the CK1 bottle last month. Oh dear. Interesting. Okay, so we picked this fragrance because it showcases the fruitiness of rose, focusing on the blackcurrant and mandarin facet, so kind of the citrus, but also the berry. And I just think, personally, I think it is one of the most euphorically beautiful rose fragrances out there. I just think it is just glorious. And it smells like, I don't know, it's kind of like, I would describe it as a very soft, billowing rose. It's like roses caught on the breeze. And I think it also has this lovely jewel-like quality to it. So it's kind of very, very luminous and sparkly almost. And I'm getting like pinks and purples, diamonds, etc. And I think it's just really, really, really sparkly. And it's got crisp, lovely stem-like facet on there. It's airy, it's clean, and it's very, very elegant, I think. And it's just, I think it's perfect. It's as perfect as a fragrance can get. It's lovely. Might have gone rose blind. I have to admit, I have seen the rose blind comment out there in the group about you going rose blind instead of nose blind, and I thought it's very funny. I did chuckle, so good for you on that one. Sharon feels like she has it. Smells dry and cold, but really opens up in skin. Absolutely agree. It needs some skin. Agree. Lovely. It's just beautiful. Right. Shall we reveal? Okay. Give the bottle a bit of a nice little polish. Okay. So the fragrance is Rose Silence by Miller Harris. This came out in 2015 and it was created, sorry, the light is getting on the text, by Mathieu Nardin, the perfumer. It is £35 for a 14ml, going all the way up to 100ml for 115ml. Mil even. So, fragrance fact, Mathieu Nardin, the perfumer who created this fragrance, grew up in Grasse. And if you know anything about Grasse in France, in the south of France, they have massive rose production there. They grow a lot of centifolia roses and harvest them early in the morning. And he remembered walking to school during the rose harvest and smelling that fragrance in the air. And this fragrance is a recreation of that childhood memory, which I think is also a really, really beautiful story. It's a wonderfully fruity rose because you've got a lovely mandarin blackcurrant facets in there, but a really elegant rose. I love this. I love this fragrance. It's one of my favourites, one of my favourite roses. Further sniffing for another fruity rose with a jewel-like quality, I would say try Rosa Nobile by Acqua di Parma. That's also really, really beautiful. I would say it's a little bit less, I don't know, I think it's a little bit sharper, but a little bit fruitier as well. But also really, really beautiful fragrance. So I used to wear that a lot until I smelled Rose Silence, and then I was like, oh my God, I love this one more. So yeah. This is Rose Silence by Miller Harris, and that's our fruity rose. And for another fruity rose, you can try the Rosa Nobile by Acqua di Parma. Lots of fans of that one, I think. Had this sample before, but did not recognise it. It does feel timid after BNC, I agree. It is a little bit lighter. And it's interesting, isn't it, about the order of the boxes. Try to order them in an interesting way. But it's difficult when you've got such a bold one as C, isn't it, I suppose? You kind of have to have a bit of space. Right. Miller Harris can do no wrong. We're all big Miller Harris fans, as you can see. There's my Miller Harris collection up the top. Somewhere here. Okay, brilliant. That's A to D done. We're halfway through. The hand cream is gorgeous. I do have some of that on my desk at work. Because I always try and match my hand cream with the fragrance that I'm wearing. So I don't have every hand cream for every fragrance, but I use the Rose Silence one whenever I wear a rose fragrance. I have an Osmanthus one from L'Occitane that I wear when I wear a fruity fragrance. A grapefruit one from the Body Shop when I wear a citrus fragrance. I have the Glossier U one when I wear a woody fragrance. The Frederic Malle one where I wear an iris fragrance. I steal Nigel's Aesop one, which is very sort of like mandarin-y, mentholy kind of herbal when I wear citruses as well. And I have a Chanel, like the little, you know, the egg. I have a number 5 low when I wear anything aldehydic, and just the normal one when I wear rosy stuff. That's my hand cream things. I have lots of hand creams in associated places because I like to keep my hands nice and soft. Right, let's get ready into the second half of the box. I think we're going at a good pace. Everyone all right? Everyone happy? Everyone good? Checking in, seeing you're all right? Everyone liking this? Interesting, Thomas. Another Miller Harris that I didn't appreciate till smelling it blind. Amazing. This is why we love the blind sniffing. What's the price? It is starts at £35 for 14ml, going all the way up to £115 for 100ml, and it's an eau de parfum. Yes, the Malle hand cream is amazing. I've actually run out, so that's going on to my birthday list. So Nigel will be made aware of that. Hayley's enjoying the new format. Good. Good, because I know there's a little bit of concern about how we would fit everything in, and I think we're doing all right. 15ml are great, Amy, aren't they? They're really good. It's good to have just like a, because you know, if you have a lot of perfume, you can't always use a massive bottle. I tend to go for the smallest bottle I can get if I'm getting a new fragrance, and then unless there's a great deal, right? And then if I really use a lot of it, then I'll buy another one. Hand creams are such a must. I agree, because it's like good to look after your hands, especially when in the winter. Okay, we're hitting you with E. So, this is what I'm calling the supporting act rose. I think this is going to be such a surprise. I'm actually really excited about this one. If it was a song, what song would it be? It is ages ago to my birthday. Gavin, how do you remember my birthday? Have you got me a present already, Gavin? I love you, Gavin. I take it back. I never meant it when I said you're a menace all those times. Let's go. I think I've just broken it. No, I haven't just broken it. Oh, okay. No, I haven't broken it. I haven't broken the bottle, so there's nothing to see here. So, if it was a song, what song would it be? You tell me and I'll talk while you're all doing that. We picked this fragrance because it shows rose as a supporting act. So this one's not really about rose. It has a rose note in it. It's quite an unusual rose, and it's hidden behind a kind of silky veil of incense and ombrette, which is a kind of musky material. And I think it's a very underrated fragrance from a brand that makes very good fragrances that I feel are a bit underrated also. So, Night Fever. The pace is great, says Sophie. I'm being a lurker as I'm migraine brewing. Sorry to hear that, Sophie. Migraines are really horrible. Something by Radiohead. It's a bit dreamy. Golden Brown. I'm Not a Girl by Britney. Oh, Gavin, do we share the same birthday? Are you a 23rd of June as well? Have we had this conversation before? Wow. I'm sharing my birthday with a legend. Wendy's cat's enjoying it. Amazing. Rosvados. Remind me of Roger and Gallet Carnation Soap. I love Roger and Gallet. They do some good stuff. Okay, so let's sniff this. I love it because I think it's got a really silky kind of caramel-like texture. There's a touch of kind of like juicy apricot in there. But there's also very clean, like mineral incense vibe, some delicate resins. And the rose is kind of more akin to a rose water for me. So whereas the others, I feel like, you know, they're getting a rose oil, I guess. These feel much more like a rose water. And the base is very soft, very plush, but also quite transparent. It's vanilla and musk. It's cashmere-like. A pale baby blue scent. Lovely. Ooh, an incense vibe. So something by Erykah Badu. Yeah. Baduism is a great album. Yeah, I agree. Is it Kui? Kui, is I saying your name right? I apologise if I say it wrong. Yeah, I totally get the Erykah Badu vibes there. Definitely an incense undertone. Lots of people saying it's very weak or just light. I get that totally. It's definitely lighter. I think it's kind of like a pale, if it was a colour for me, it would be kind of a pale baby blue. Sexy priest arranging the flowers before mass. Yeah, agreed. Do you want to know what it is though? Yeah, you do. So fragrance E, which I haven't broken. By haven't, I mean I have now. Koi. Koi? Got it. Thank you. I like to make sure I say it right, so I apologise if I say anyone's name wrong. It is never my intention. Okay, this fragrance is... This is from Ghost. It is Ghost the fragrance. You may have seen this. You may have tried it. This came out in the year 2000, the millennium, it was Perfume Michel Almerac, and it is £21 for a 30ml eau de parfum, all the way up to £39.50 for a 100ml eau de parfum. It's Ghost. Ghost the fragrance, the original Ghost fragrance. Fun fact, fragrance fact, the bottle is inspired by the curves of the female form, according to their website. I don't know if that's a humanly possible form, but you get the gist. So this is a supporting act rose. This rose is very kind of subtle, I think, but you get wonderful, wonderful incense in there too. I think it's a really lovely fragrance actually, and underrated. I think this is our first Ghost. Isn't it, guys? Don't think we've done a Ghost before. Very skinny indeed, Gavin. Lisa loves Ghost. Crystal's happy that we've got a Ghost. Lucy says, shocker, smells luxe and smooth. Sharon likes it. Okay, someone said Orinoco Flow earlier. I think that's quite accurate. Did anyone spot this one? Did anyone recognise it? I don't think they did they? Angela used to wear it. Definitely Baby Blue, says Kirsten. More like a giraffe. Yeah. Crystal's worn this quite a lot. Love it. Love an affordable Ghost Queen. We do. We love it. We live for an affordable Ghost Queen. So further sniffing would be just try more Ghost fragrances. They're actually really damn good. I would say if you want to go for another Ghost fragrance, I really like Deep Night, but I think that's because I grew up in a certain era and girls just always wore Deep Night. when I was at school, and it's quite a nice comforting smell. But I think all the Ghost fragrances are actually really, really good. So there you go. That is E. Let's move on to F. F then is the Spicy Rose. So if Fragrance F was a film, which film would it be? I'm intrigued. Deep Night is great, I agree. Sophie says, I didn't realise it had rose and it has musk. It has both. Ombre is one of the notes, so it's very musky. So, Fragrance F for the film, what film would it be? 9 to 5. Lord of the Rings. Casablanca. I've never seen Casablanca. I'm pretty sure that's sacrilege, right? So we picked this fragrance because it is, well, a rose that plays with the spicier facets. And rose can actually have a spice facet. Remember, right at the beginning, we talked about the materials that are found in natural rose absolutes, and one of those is eugenol, which is kind of like a clovey-like material. So this fragrance kind of celebrates the spiciness of rose. And also rose can kind of sit with woody notes. It doesn't have to be kind of sweet or have to be fresh. It can go woody, oody, more opulent. So yeah, this celebrates the spice, and it's also a masculine rose, but you know what we say here, anybody can wear anything that they like. V for Vendetta, lots of people, again, I think this was another one that some people loved and some people didn't. It kind of was a mixture, wasn't it? Okay, it smells like, well, to me anyway, it's massively fresh. There's lots of kind of like bitter grapefruit in the top, which works really well with rose. I love a bit of rose and grapefruit. Gives it kind of like an acerbic sort of sour quality. There's a rich dusting of dry spices. There's pepper and clove. But it also has this kind of slightly sweaty, sexy quality to it. And the rose itself is very transparent, almost holographic, I would say. And there's like some sharpness, some sharp vetiver, and some, you know, kind of solid woods in the base. But also this kind of ozonic, watery atmosphere throughout. It feels very, very fresh. And I think if you looked at the notes list, you could think this would be really, really heavy, but it's not. It's very light and fizzy. I think it's great. Crystal didn't like this one. Conchetta didn't like this one. Xenia did like this one. Okay, Gavin tried this first and liked it. Adele says it's her favourite. Interesting. Well, let's just jump right in and see what it is. You ready? Interesting. Hayley enjoys it more after hearing my description of the notes. Maybe it just helps it kind of put it into context for you, maybe. Do we like F? Oh yeah, okay. Give a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Wandering through the souks of Morocco, says Lucy. I can see that. I've never been to Morocco, but I can imagine it. Okay, this fragrance is Toy Boy by Moschino. So, this came out in 2019 by perfumer Jan Vasnier, and it's £38.25 for a 30ml eau de parfum, all the way up to £72 for a 100ml EDP. This is such a cool fragrance. Fun fact, the teddy bear, this is your fragrance fact, actually pays homage to Moschino's 1988 collection, which included a cluster of soft teddies which were placed along the neckline of a bodycon dress worn by German Princess Gloria von Thurn. And it's Moschino's third fragrance to be housed within a teddy bear bottle. So there was Toy, the original, which I've got somewhere over here, which is the actual teddy where you literally decapitate a plush teddy to get to the fragrance. And then Toy 2, which was in a clear bottle. And this is obviously, this is the masculine one, Toy Boy. And what I would say, all love to Moschino. You know I like Moschino. We had Cheap and Chic in our citrus box. Toy, the original fragrance. I remember that fragrance coming out in the lovely sort of fluffy teddy bear bottle. And I remember getting the press release for it. And there was one line about the fragrance in a 5-page press release. They didn't care about what the fragrance is in the bottle. It was all about the bottle. And then Toy 2 was like, okay, a nice fresh one. But this is a fantastic fragrance. It didn't have to be this good because anything in this bottle is going to sell loads. So, amazing. Further sniffing for another spicy rose, I would say try Le Labo's Rose 31. It's much more velvety and voluptuous and powdery and kind of suede-like and woody, but it is another spicy rose. This is much more fresh ozonic, but it's still like a interesting spicy rose. So there you go, further sniffing for you there. Okay, we've got 10 minutes and we've got 2 left. Yes, agree, it's a banger. I always get loads of compliments when I wear Toy Boy. People go, oh, what's that? It's kind of got, it's very diffusive, has a great trail. The sillage is amazing. Okay, let's go to our penultimate fragrance, which is the Vibrant Rose, Fragrance G. If Fragrance G was an outfit, what outfit would it be? We're at 99 people. That's insane. It's a lot of people here. Can't believe I'm talking to 99 people all at once. Okay. I think my comments have disappeared. Hold on. Okay, sorry, my comments seem to have disappeared then. Oh, they're coming back. Don't know what happened. So we like G, says Dawn. Sexy lingerie, says Cheryl. Stormtrooper cosplay. Can petticoat, says Hester. Dress for the Oscars, so glamorous. So I've called this the Vibrant Rose, and the reason we picked this is because it's such a luminous, enveloping rose. What I think is quite fascinating about it is it's really very rich and complex. There's a lot going on here. It's very multifaceted. It's quite bold. But I think it's also got an airiness and a transparency to it that kind of is very spacious and it doesn't feel oppressive. And it smells like, you know, rose petals kind of floating on a cool pool of milk. It's very milky, and there's a sprinkling of sugar crystals in pink, obviously. But then there's something very ozonic about it, almost like it's got a bit of a Baccarat Rouge vibe. You know, Baccarat Rouge is the famous Maison Francis Kurkdjian fragrance that pairs the very sweet quality of, you know, candy floss quality of ethyl maltol with ambroxan, which is a marine sort of ambergris material. So this has got some of that there. But it's fizzy as well, and it's sharp, and there's a touch of greenery, but it's also very creamy soft. It's quite a whirlwind of a fragrance. Touch of something cool and menthol as well. I feel like it's kind of cooling. Very multifaceted and complex, but not in any way heavy. Very strong, kind of, you know, very like noticeable though. I find like out when I've sprayed this one and I come back in the room, I can smell it. G's likely to drain my bank account, said Amy. Possibly. Manuela got black currant green notes and yummy rose. Glam dress, interesting. Lots of people think that's very, very glam. Cashmere glass, burgundy velvet. Interesting. Another favourite in the box. I'm going to have to give this a wear day. I think I skipped it. Okay. The fragrance is... You ready? It is Atomic Rose by Initio. Atomic Rose is such a good name for a fragrance, isn't it? Atomic Rose. It came out in 2019 and it is £215 for a 90ml eau de parfum on the pricier side. And your fragrance fact is that Initio is the sister brand to Parfum de Marly. And my further sniffing is, if you like this, try Delina by Parfum de Marly for a much sweeter take on that kind of milky rose. So yeah. And what I like about this is the bottle has kind of this strange kind of texture on it that makes it feel very, very luxurious. It's almost like it could be leather, but it's not. It's just like a spray coating, but it feels very smooth, very textured. I like it. Yes, I feel like this one's going to have some fans that'll be a little bit disappointed. Or something to save for. So Atomic Rose. I'd have it for the name and just the name, because that is... Let's be honest, a fantastic name, right? There we go. So we do the last one? Last one. Okay, we're going on to fragrance H, which I am calling the Masculine Rose. Whilst I spritz, can you please tell me, if it was a colour, what colour would it be? Give it a good spritz. A little bit too sweet for Joe. There's quite a few pretty pennies. You can get there though. So Suzanne thinks that H might be expensive too. It does. It is nuclear in its lasting power. I do agree, Michelle. Claire, I can see why you thought it was delicious. There are lots of similarities to me. For me, it's much more marine fresh for me. Not quite so sweet, but definitely there's some overlap. Indigo, daffodil, lemon, aubergine, white or pale blue. Wow, such different colours. That's what I love about this. We just see it or perceive it so differently. It's fascinating. Bright white, washing powder, violet. Amazing. So we picked this fragrance because it shows that roses are not just for girls, and in fact they are very prevalent within masculine perfumery, but it's rose in a more herbal, woody context. And also what I quite like about this, I think like it's quite understated, it's handsome and it's refined. It's definitely more herbal and there's a coolness. I like what Chris was saying about it being a watery mint green. I totally see that because it has a greenery facet to it, herbalness, which is kind of coming from galbanum and angelica. It gives that kind of sense of greenery.